This is Midnight Run on the Inside Edge Network. Here's your host, Anthony Alford.
It is almost criminal. It is almost criminal that on Thursday, March 12th, that is 12:01, I have to have my jacket on and I have to crank the heater back up. This is criminal. I don't know what, man, if there was ever a tease for weather, this is it right here. This right here was 71, 72 degrees. I'm going to the gym in shorts. I'm rocking out. And I'm sitting here chilling. I'm watching a ton of things going on here tonight. Watching Jersey Chasers, watching Inside Edge Primetime, watching basketball in the background. Of course, the Cavs. They fall hard at the end, but came up short against the Orlando Magic. And I'm like, dude, this is chilly. What's going on? And I looked at this ain't just a normal cold front. This is balls to the wall cold front that came through. So, 70 degrees. Tomorrow is, I think, actually right now, it's like 35 degrees. Literally cut in half. Crazy. Anywho, welcome to Midnight Run. I'm Anthony Alford. It's great to have you with us. My producer is the Golden Child, Eli Moon. Of course, check out his album. Was dropped a couple weeks ago, but still buy it. Check it out right now. The Golden Child, Eli Moon. He's my producer tonight, every night here on Midnight Run, and you'll hear from him throughout the hour. Also, the co-host of Inside Edge Primetime, Eli Moon and Chad Bryant. But we have a loaded show. We're here with you until 1 a.m. Thank you all for your support, and we got to jump right in. We'll talk Shedeur Sanders. There's a story with Shedeur Sanders that is gaining a ton of fire right now. We're going to talk about Shedeur coming up in just a little bit. We also have Unpack Wednesday. A lot of things to get into as we get to the busiest time of the year. And, of course, my BG Falcons, they're getting ready for the MAC tournament. That's going to take place here. It's over 13 hours from right now, where they beat down Toledo in the quarterfinals tomorrow to set up the semifinals with BG in the University of Miami of Ohio, where we will shock the world. But I don't mean to go ahead of ourselves, but I'm going to. Last night, we were on the air a little bit after Bam Adebayo broke the record, or surpassed Kobe Bryant, I should say, second all-time scoring. And the reaction last night was very raw. I said today, I said last night, we're not going to have a good feeling about this. Now, I don't want to discredit Bam. Scoring 83 points is nuts. It's crazy. There's a reason why only 2 people have done it in the history of basketball, history of the NBA, I should say. I'm sure it's been done in high school basketball plenty of times. But in the NBA, that's a hard thing to do no matter how you do it. The issue we're running into is how it became accomplished. That's the eerie part. And now that we've had 24 hours to kind of go through and kind of dissect how it happened, stomachs are turning. I want to show you a graphic here real quick. I'll load it up on my end here, Eli. So look at this. This is the final sequence when Bam got to 83 points. Look at the time that's passed. You're looking at a difference between 1 minute and 40 in game action at the bottom of the screen, and then look up to the top of the screen, 1 minute and 16. Look at the difference in the scoring margin, and look at how many free throws were attempted. by both teams to get to this record. Again, I don't blame Bam. And to be perfectly honest, I don't blame the Heat. Because if you have a guy on your team who has an opportunity to break a record, on your team, you're going to do everything possible to break that record. You're going to do everything possible. But there is another team that's a part of this that I place huge blame in. We got a ton of reaction. That's just, my mind is just, the bike is just spinning right now. Let's first hear Eli Freecamp from the Wizards head coach, Brian Keefe, after last night's game, after this loss and what happened. If we have that, take a look.
I give him credit in the first half. He shot the ball terrific. He scored the ball really well. Obviously, he came out and had a little bit in the third too, but they obviously kept him in the game, and there was a lot of foul calls, 16 free throws in the fourth quarter. Just trying to take the ball out of his hands. He's still got some, free throws 40 feet from the rim. I can't explain some of those calls, but that's all I got to say on that.
Brian, you guys shot the ball fairly well. Would you say the game got away from you simply with the amount of turnovers that led to them getting some points off of them?
Turnovers, offensive rebounds, the possession game was definitely the key, and we only lost the game by 7 in the second half, and the fourth quarter just turned into a not a real basketball game, but we got to be better with our ball security, and we got to own the fact that we let this guy get hot, and that's on us.
That last quote, this was not a real basketball game. That's pretty damning. That's pretty damning in a league that is being accused right now at this very moment of tanking, of teams tanking, and Adam Silver running with his pants on fire, trying to figure out how to solve the very tanking issue that is turning people away from the sport that I love, NBA basketball. I love the NBA. I love covering hoops. I love watching hoops. But I'm getting uneasy about this. Like, when something special happens in real sports where things are not predetermined, right? We want to assume that something special happened organically. In football, we don't question if a quarterback broke a touchdown record, a passing touchdown record, or a receiving touchdown record, or anything like that. For the most part, I know there were questions about the Myles Garrett sack record this past year, but in terms of him actually achieving the sack record, that was real. That was real. That wasn't just a let up by the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 18. That actually happened. But this, if you're starting to talk about the integrity of the game, now we have a problem. And you're starting, and if you're questioning, wait a minute, a record that somebody who we all love in Kobe Bryant, you break that record? All right, it's one thing if it's not Luka breaking that record or Donovan Mitchell, who had 71 points before in a game. Like, if Donovan Mitchell would have broke the record, okay, cool. All right, we got something here. But again, this is not Bam's fault. But when we're talking about the integrity of the sports that we are covering, that people are paying tickets to go watch and see, and people are paying legitimate money to gamble on, you don't want to hear from somebody saying this is not a real pro basketball game, because now I'm starting to think that it wasn't real. And I thought maybe I was alone in those thoughts. Maybe like, okay, I'm going a little crazy. Maybe this is not something that we're thinking of, and it's not really an issue. But I've watched programming all day, and I look, listen. I want to be one, because I love basketball. I want to be one of those guys who celebrates the game. I know I'm not a hooper. I can't go out there and score 83 points. I can barely score 2 points. I will defer to the people who play the game of basketball at any level to tell you how difficult it is to score a single point in a pro basketball game, let alone 83. So I don't blame Bam, and I don't blame the Miami Heat team. But yes, they were clunking free throws and things like that. But the Wizards didn't have to have 4 guys on various players and fouling them just to make sure Miami got another possession for Bam to break the record. But I thought I was alone in that. And then I heard our other programs tonight, right here on the Inside Edge Network. I heard Jersey Chasers, and we'll get to them in a second. Let me start with Chad from Inside Edge Prime Time. Because when I heard this, I'm like, we might be on to something. This is Chad and Eli from Prime Time about 2 hours ago talking about this very topic.
Even though Adam Silver says, hey, we're going to go medieval on you for tanking or for load management, don't rest your superstars. But please, by all means, continue to make a mockery of this game by missing free throws up 39 points or whatever at the end of a game. Maybe I exaggerated the lead too. Calling timeouts for no reason other than to get your guy 83 points. I mean, that's it. They just wanted him to surpass Kobe's 81 points. That's it. There's no reason. There wasn't a natural reason within the framework of the game. It's not like it was a close game. It wasn't a 1 or 2 point game down the. And Adebayo was just on fire, right? So you keep going to the guy because you got to have him to win the game, right? No, they left him out there just for the sole purpose of scoring 83 points or however many he was going to end up with. And to me, I don't know, Eli, just seeing the missed free throws for no reason, it really rubs me the wrong way. Maybe I'm an old guy. I don't know. Maybe
No, you're not wrong. It's look, I couldn't help but smile because you're absolutely right. It's a bad look.
I couldn't say it any better myself. For a record that should be celebrated, it's a bad look, to quote my producer and host of Inside Edge Primetime, Eli Moon. It's a bad look. It's terrible. This ain't good. And to further the point, let's hear from Jersey Chasers, Autumn and Christy on this very topic. Take a look.
Being the sports lovers that we are, we want to see records be broken in a way that is competitive. And in that case, it wasn't very competitive. Mm-hmm. And they probably weren't even thinking at the time, like, oh, there goes Kobe's record, which kind of sucks. But as fans, we're thinking that.
Yeah, and I mean,
well, there goes Kobe's record, and for what? For free throws.
Yeah, I mean, you have some people crashing out on Twitter, notably O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son, was crashing out on Twitter about it, being like, wow, I can't believe this guy broke Kobe's record. This is crazy. And honestly, when you think of the Wilt record and you think of the Kobe record, those are 2 games or 2 records that you say to yourself, those will never be broken. It's sort of like the Lou Gehrig hit streak. No, the Joe DiMaggio hit streak. The Joe DiMaggio hit streak of 56 games, like the closest any Major League Baseball player has ever close to it come close is like 30 games. Like a 30-game hit streak is probably the closest anybody will come to it. You have Lou Gehrig's and now Cal Ripken Jr.'s record of most games played. Like those are the records that we all thought, okay, these are not really attainable. And Bam getting that 83, and then, like I said, it was the way he got it at the end of the game is where people were like, this is not cool. And then I thought the other thing that was interesting is that the score at the end of the game was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen.
Yeah, and Otto went on to talk about, like, okay, the final score, like 150 or 151 points there at the end of the game. But I'm just sitting there and, I'm like, okay, we want to celebrate this, but if you are going to put yourself in the company of Wilt and Kobe, and we want to sit there and be like, man, I remember where I was at when this record was broken. I remember. We can't do that. And Now, the bigger concern is what I talked about just a few moments ago. It goes back to the tanking. It goes back to the fact that the Washington Wizards have lost 9 straight. It goes back to the fact that as of this moment, other than, don't make it blatantly obvious, Utah Jazz, as long as, you go out of your way and lose games or don't put a reasonable product on the court, you're going to be perfectly fine. I will say this, and Eli will, as a matter of fact, Eli, come on the screen for a second because you're going to laugh at what I'm about to say. There are times on Main Event, we've done that show for over a decade. There are times on Main Event where our buddy and co-host Rob Rozicki will say something and we will both simultaneously cringe like, bruh, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, I might be turning to Rob on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bad look, Double A. It's I mean, I said that on prime time. It's not a good look, this Bam situation. I mean, if this was, to Chad's point on prime time, if this was a 2-point game or a 4-point game and coming down to the wire, sure, but it was not. It was a very, very one-sided game. The Wizards aren't a good team. They're a team that has Trae Young and Anthony Davis. Neither one is suited up for them yet. They're a team that's going to be a lottery team, a team that is hoping they can get AJ DeBanza or Darren Peterson or one of these guys that come out in the draft this year. This just wasn't a good look for the NBA. And in a league that's already dealing with the Utah Jazz situation where they should have more wins than they do, and they've been trying to stay within that top 3 of Tankathon, it's just not a good look. And there's so much good stuff with the NBA. I mean, there's a lot of young stars. There's a lot of promising teams. The OKC Thunder should be one of the biggest stories in sports just because of how they did it, the homegrown aspect. But instead, we're sitting here talking about 83 points, and it's a bad look instead of we're celebrating Bam Adebayo. This may have been one of the more damaging things for his career instead of a highlight, a moment that propels him to superstardom.
That's the worst thing. Thanks, Eli. That's the worst thing. People are going to joke about this now with Bam. Oh, you remember the time you scored 83 points? It's not Bam's fault. But people are going to joke about Eli. That might have been the smartest thing Eli has ever said on this network. People are going to joke about that record to Bam. The only person that, it hurts is Bam. Unless he scored Miami's next game, Bam has to score. Miami's next game, Bam has to score 50. Bam has to score 50. Matter, Eli, can you look up Miami's next game? What is the Heat's next game? Because whoever they face next, Bam has to score 50. End of story. Oh, Milwaukee. Yeah, he has to score 50. And he has to be aggressive about it, and that's that. Yeah, the NBA has to do this is damage control because here's the other reason why this is so bad, such a bad look. The way I found out, again, I don't think Eli and Chad will mind me saying this because they said it on their show. I don't think they had a set of eyes on the Miami Heat last night. I don't think they were paying attention to the Miami Heat game. And I wasn't paying attention to the Miami Heat game. The game of the day last night was the Celtics and Spurs. That was the game that was on NBC. And I remember flipping back to NBC. I think they were in commercial. I flipped back and I looked. I'm like, why is the Miami game on? I had no idea what happened. I thought, oh, crap, maybe I'm like, is it halftime? No, it's 10 o'clock. No, halftime already happened. Is there like a arena delay in San Antonio? Did the power go out and NBC had to go to backup programming? I had no idea what happened. And I just kept seeing this random Bally Sports broadcast. And all I'm seeing is free throws from this random Wizards Heat game. And, all of a sudden, Bam Adebayo, he broke Kobe's record. Oh, okay. Here's my solution. First of all, the Wizards head coach should be fired. Like, honestly, that's kind of a fireable offense. I know he's a young guy. I think this is his second season with the Wizards. I had to actually do research on the Wizards. They're that irrelevant. So they should be fired. I thought all of our talent made a great point, and none of this was within the frame of the game, right? This was – I watch pro wrestling. I can spot predetermined BS from a mile away. That's what this was. I think Adam Silver may have to do something drastic here. I think you need to take a special hard look at what happened at the end of this game. And you got to do something. And I need an internal investigation on the Wizards. If you can prove, and again, I don't know how you go about this. I mean, if they can prove that they intentionally, again, I don't know. I don't know what to do because I'm thinking emotionally here. I really am. And I know we got a break here in a few seconds. I'm thinking very emotionally here. Because I honestly, for that performance, I want them to lose all their draft picks. I'm just going to be honest. I want them to lose. I want them to lose their draft picks. Like, you ruined something special. That record was something special. And the Wizards effed it up. They effed it up. Baseball is very protective of records and things like that. I don't know if basketball is overly protective of records like baseball, but that scoring record meant something to a lot of people. And because of this gimmick, they effed it up. Kobe Bryant will still be Kobe Bryant. Wilt Chamberlain will still be Wilt Chamberlain. They're going to be fine. But when Donovan Mitchell has 71 points, that was a special night because he didn't break the record, but he was close. And Donovan Mitchell actually had to score those points to win the game for the Cavaliers, and it happened naturally. When Luka scores those points, Stephen Curry scores those points, that mattered. What happened last night was a gimmick. And that gimmick ruined one of the special things that the NBA had. And for future players to shoot for. Oh, now we're just going to crank up free throws. And the worst part about it was, from Bam's performance, the first half did come naturally. He had 43 points at halftime. It came naturally. 30 points in the first quarter. But just like Coach Keefe said, the Wizards head coach, in the fourth quarter, it wasn't a real basketball game. And because you wanted to tank, and because your organization doesn't take basketball seriously, and you're stealing money away from DC residents, you ruin one of the special things that the NBA had. And it was that scoring record. Unreal. I need some good candles. I need to calm down after that hot first segment. And the crazy thing, I told you, it is cold now outside. What in the world happened with the weather? Going from 70 to 35 in less than 12 hours? That is criminal. But if you still want a reminder that spring is on its way, spring technically kicks off in over a week. We're in March Madness season. AlleyRoseFragrances.com. AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Get the new spring collection of candles. They are phenomenal. They're great. And the burn time compared to the competitors, much significantly longer burn time compared to the competitors, and it's natural ingredients as well. So it's healthy. They use vegan products, so it's all healthy, right? It's nothing bad. And what I love too about these candles, you know how like most candles, you have the candle in the middle and it only burns like the hole in the middle and that's it. But like when it gets down to the bottom, that's it. Allie Rose fragrances, Allison, her candles, it evenly burns the wax. It's even. And that's where you get your longer lasting burn time. I had to calm down after that segment. Inside Edge 20, that's the promo code. Inside Edge 20, AllieRoseFragrances.com. AllieRoseFragrances.com. Use the promo code Inside Edge 20. That's where you have to go. I'm going to get another bottle of water. We come back. We're going to talk about Shedeur Sanders. Some of you Browns fans are riled up after the comments that was heard this week on Cleveland Sports Talk. We'll play those when we come back. Double A Anthony Alford here with you. We're off and running. This is Midnight Run. We are running here tonight on the Inside Edge Network.
This is Midnight Run on the Inside Edge Network. Here's your host, Anthony Alford.
Hold on, one more time. Hold up. Boy. That was crazy. I didn't think I would get that fired up about Bam. And again, I just want to state that we'll move on to Shedeur Sanders in 2 seconds. I just want to state it's not Bam's fault. None of this is Bam's fault. And honestly, I kind of don't blame the Heat. I know they could, if it wasn't for intentionally missing free throws, I don't blame the Heat, but I 100% blame the Wizards. For allowing that to happen, because if it was, I'll put it to you this way, if it was against a team that they respected, would the Heat have done what they did? Like, if you were facing the Lakers and LeBron was on the floor, would like LeBron and the Lakers and Luka, would they have let that happen? If it was the Cavs, like, what would you think if Bam broke the record against the Cavs and the Cavs did what the Wizards did? What would you think as a Cleveland fan? How would you react to that? Like, it's terrible. Honestly, now 24 hours thinking about it, it's one of the worst displays of sports in terms of effort or lack thereof I've ever seen. So there's that. Let's move on to Shedeur Sanders. We're going to leave this alone here, but this is really gaining some steam. Now, I want to make clear, we're going to play Jason Lloyd's comments from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show about Shedeur Sanders in a few seconds here. I just want to state before we play this, I know I'm half of that crew I have great relationships with. Jason and G. Bush and Earl's one of the producers of that show, Earl the Pearl, who you hear on 92.3 The Fan. So I like all those guys. So you ain't going to hear me shooting the messenger in terms of opinion and things like that. But this story has developed a lot of stuff. I think it's obvious in terms of discourse with Shedeur Sanders. It's kind of playing out kind of the same conversations that we have had with Baker Mayfield when he was here, except we're at the early stages of that conversation. So without further, if you haven't heard it yet, let's play it for you. This is courtesy of WKYC and the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, Jason Lloyd, on what he's hearing inside the building about Shedeur Sanders.
If you just do that, why couldn't you do that and just play Shedeur then?
Here's
because
the thing.
If the 27 was
Here's the thing. This is the spot that I'm in, I think, with Shedeur, is I've talked to enough people and heard so much about him that's not very good. So what am I supposed to do with that? Am I supposed to play dumb and just come in here and be like, yeah, play the kid, let's give it a shot? When you hear over and over and over again, doesn't really watch a ton of film, had to kind of be shown how to watch film, doesn't know when he's hot, doesn't know what he's looking at in coverages. Am I supposed to ignore all that?
No.
So that's what leads me to some of the decisions that I've come to. And then when you look at the data, it is what it is. And he didn't play well. So people want me to just ignore all of that because, well, it's Shedeur and it's a 5th-round pick. And hey, if they hit on a 5th-round pick, it erases Deshaun. All of that is true. But when you're told things over and over and over by different people, it's not one person, it's different people all saying this. You just expect me to just ignore that?
No.
And not take it into account? So that's what's led me to this decision.
And again, that's Jason Lloyd. You see G. Bush having the bull there on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, courtesy of them and WKYC. And again, those guys do a great job on that show. And I love the passion of talking Cleveland sports and things like that. Let me just say this. I think very highly of Shedeur Sanders. Very highly of Shedeur Sanders. The reason why we are not in a position to draft a quarterback early in this draft was because Shedeur Sanders won a few games at the end of the season that he had to win. I get it. We had Mac Robinson, 92.3 The Fan personality, on our show a week ago, and he mentioned that there are extreme highs and extreme lows with Shedeur. I get it. I understand it. We all seen it. And we covered it here on the Inside Edge Network through our programming. So I'm not sitting here denying that. And I am also of the understanding that Todd Monken and Andrew Berry, I think they have 1 year, fair or unfair, and a lot of it's unfair, but 2027, I'm a firm believer that 2027, we're going to see a hard reset across the league in terms of quarterbacks available through the draft and through free agency. So I say all that to say this. It is up to Shedeur Sanders and Shedeur Sanders alone to prove Jason Lloyd wrong or right. Fans here in Cleveland, we get very, very emotional about criticism. We just do. If we like a player and we hear criticism of said player, we get very emotional. I get it. That's part of the game. That's part, and that's sports across the board. I still have Celtics fans on TikTok blasting me for my Jaylen Brown take, even though I wasn't wrong about him getting thrown out of the effing game last night. Suck on that. Anywho, back to Cleveland sports. And yes, I was wearing the Cavs shirt because, yes, Inside Edge Network is proudly based here in Northeast Ohio. So y'all can... Back to Shedeur Sanders. Honestly, that's kind of what Shedeur Sanders needs to prove to those inside the building that Jason Lloyd is talking to. He doesn't have this job locked up. Now, is it a success story to the point of 5th-round draft pick, having an opportunity to start? Sure. But we know the story of Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders was in prime position. If we did the show last year, at this very time, March 12th, 2025, we were talking about Shedeur Sanders as a top 5 draft pick. And he fell all the way to the 5th round. a lot of background noise in terms of how that happened, but we are way past that now. Deshaun Watson's coming for that job. Deshaun Watson has 1 year left to prove that $250 million contract wasn't an all-time abomination. No matter what, it's going to be a failure, but he has to prove that it's not an abomination. So Deshaun Watson is coming for that QB1 job. And Tom Monken, considering this is his first shot, and maybe only shot as an NFL head coach, he is not coming into this playing favorites. So Shedeur Sanders, even if he is studying film, even if he is doing the things that he needs to do, he needs to up his game. He needs to up it. Because even though I've seen promises of Shedeur Sanders as being the guy, I don't think he solidified the starting job. I don't think he locked it in. He has to play better. He has to play better. Now, will the new head coach help that? I hope so. I think Kevin Stefanski's an absolute dumpster fire. Kevin Stefanski, offensive genius. You see, we talked to Rico yesterday. Check out that interview if you missed it. Yeah, his vision of what quarterback should look like compared to others. I think, I'm going to be honest, I think both Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson are going to look fantastic compared to years past during training camp under this new offense. But Shedeur has to take it. He has to earn this job. A few things that we need to see from Shedeur Sanders in particular. We talked yesterday. There needs to be more talent around him, first of all. Offensive line. So we have seen the upgrades with the offensive line. By the way, kudos to Joe Patonio. He's the loyal Cleveland Browns to the point where his contract void, he did not inform the Browns whether or not he was going to retire or not. So the Browns have inherited $23 million in dead cap. Yeah, loyalty in sports. Don't you love it? Anywho, offensive line, building the upgrades there, that's going to be huge. I said last night, I'm kind of locking in on this, especially if Patonio does return. I think you have to go receiver at 6. I think receiver at 6, now that you are building that line, you got to have that dog as your wide receiver 1. Now, me personally, I have not done enough draft prep to determine whether that should be Tyson or Tate. I will leave that to our draft experts. Of course, the Commissioner's Couch podcast with Ryan Mosser, David Calhoun, that comes on tomorrow at 7 o'clock here on the Inside Edge Network, across all of our platforms at Inside Edge Net. They have full breakdowns of that. But ultimately, Shedeur, he has to be confident in his decision. He is confident in his decision-making. He's too confident in his decision-making, and that's why he's thrown some of those picks. But continue to drive down the field, continue to build up your arm, and yes, smart up in the film room. Even if you are putting in the work, smart up in the film room. Study NFL defenses. Study the AFC North. You got, study those defenses. Study the schemes that they're putting up against you, the disguises. Study those things. Utilize your coaching staff. If you got to have to butter them up a little bit to earn the starting spot, I understand. I get that. It's competition. Nobody understands that more than Shedeur's father, Coach Prime. Yeah, sometimes you got to, butter up your coaches a little bit. Tell like, hey, happy birthday, Coach Monken, happy birthday. I'm working. Then actually put in that work. I love, again, like I said before, I love the passion of Browns fans. I'm cool with Pratt. I'm right there, lockstep. In most cases, I'm on the front line of passion. and every Browns law, like I'm right there. Shedeur has to prove it. And the Browns, and again, we could come on here tomorrow and find out that the Browns have traded for Anthony Richardson. Who knows? But I still think, and I think Eli agrees with me, we've been talking about it, Eli, like the best course of action is to look at the quarterback room you have right now and make it work, either with Shedeur Sanders or, dare I say it, Deshaun Watson. Make that work. It doesn't make any sense to bring in anybody else. I mean, okay, fine. Draft a quarterback in the NFL draft, maybe later on, so you have a body. Fine. But it doesn't make sense to bring in a Kyler Murray here. And it looks like right now he's on the fast track to go to Minnesota. It doesn't make much sense to trade for Anthony Richardson, a kid. He is only 23 years old, but you got to figure out if he could play. Doesn't make any sense to sign Kirk Cousins. That was another name we talked about. That doesn't make any sense. I know it's iffy right now, but you got two quarterbacks right now, and in particular, Shedeur Sanders, who you can make work. He has the tools to be successful. He has a football background, and I've seen enough of Shedeur Sanders in the 7 starts that he had that he is more than capable of driving the ball down the field. If he could drive the ball down the field with an offense that ranked dead last or near the bottom of the rankings in receivers, backfield, and offensive line, Dylan Gabriel couldn't move the ball down the field at all. Joe Flacco barely could move the ball down the field with those statistics. Shedeur could. And when Shedeur had Harold Fannin to throw the football to, when it worked, it happened. So imagine having Harold Fannin. The Browns had another tight end pickup today. Imagine drafting a top receiver. Junkins being back. Hopefully he's healthy, ready to go. And you have a stud offensive line. And one last thing. And then we got to go to break. Unpack Wednesday's coming up. One last thing. Because I think this is critical. AFC North. Again, I'm not saying the Browns are going to win the AFC North. I'm not coming out here saying they could win the AFC North. But you only need 10 wins to be in contention to win the AFC North. Shedeur has a golden opportunity here. A golden opportunity. He deserves 17 games to make that happen. And on the flip side of if Jason Lloyd is right about Shedeur Sanders, then Deshaun Watson will get those opportunities. So there you go. Unpack Wednesday's coming up in just a moment. First, BA Sweeties. It's fantastic. In fact, you want to get BA Sweeties because you got to get the classic candies and the popcorns for this upcoming fight between Logan Paul and Gronkowski over, I don't know if it's for a promotion for flag football coming up this weekend or not, but you got to get your popcorn ready for BA Sweeties. In fact, as we are heading close to Easter, think of all the events, including this weekend, March Madness. And I know where I'm going tomorrow. I know what I'm going to be snacking on while I'm watching Bowling Green take down Toledo in the MAC tournament tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to BA Sweeties. I'm getting some popcorn. I'm getting some good, tasty popcorn from Sweeties. Humphreys, Olympia Company, all that stuff. It's the largest candy store in North America. Over 75 years of business right here in Cleveland, Ohio, Northeast Ohio, BA Sweeties. And what's cool about BA Sweeties, it's a special attraction for those visiting. So if you're in town here in Cleveland for the MAC tournament, welcome. Welcome. Cleveland, Ohio is fantastic. before you go to Rocket Arena, head on over to BA Sweeties. It's on Interstate 480. Take the Ridge Road exit. Make a left on Brook Park Road. You see a giant lollipop. It's right there, BA Sweeties. You got to stack up on candy. We heard a story last year of a family traveling from Indianapolis coming in to BA Sweeties, and they just stacked up on candy that you can't find anywhere else. Candy and jelly beans and popcorns and treats and Coke and pops, sodas. You can't get it from anywhere else. BA Sweeties is the place where you need to be. Again, Interstate 480, the Ridge Road exit, make a left on Brook Park Road. You see the giant lollipop, let me know. Double A Anthony Alford, Inside Edge Network, Midnight Run, Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast. We sent you to BA Sweeties. We'll take a break, come back. Unpack Wednesdays coming up.
This is Midnight Run on the Inside Edge Network. Here's your host, Anthony Alford.
Back here on Midnight Run, final segment of the show. Remember, even though this is my final Midnight Run of the week, this show will be back every week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We got more programming for you here on the Inside Edge Network. Tomorrow, again, the Commissioner's Couch podcast with Ryan Moster and David Calhoun. Gets us going at 7. Eli and Chad will be back with Inside Edge Prime Time at 10 o'clock. And then on Friday, myself, Kyle Cornell, will have you covered with the Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast Friday morning. And then, of course, episode number 2 of Mike Check Take 2 with David Ruiz and Autumn Chisholm coming up Friday night at 7 right here on the Inside Edge Network. We got programming. In fact, go to InsideEdgeNetwork.com. You'll see our full schedule. We have shows every single day of the week, so you don't want to miss it. Saturday programming as well with Illegal Formation with Chad Bryant and TK Dandridge. And Real Talk with Papa Moon, our mental health podcast, Saturday afternoons at 5 p.m. right here on the Inside Edge Network. We got Unpack Wednesdays coming up in just a bit. But first, Double A Anthony Alford here to tell you our new network sponsor, W Energy. Folks, listen. 24 hours in a day, sometimes time slips by. And I'll be honest, when it gets to, doing these midnight shows, I know Eli was a little worried about me earlier. He was like, dude, I sent you a text. I ain't getting nothing back. Yo, you still up? Hell yeah, I was up. Know why? W Energy. Got you fully covered, ready to go. The energy that you need to get things going. No artificial flavors. That's the cool thing about it. It tastes phenomenal, but no artificial flavors. And it's the good stuff. It's not, some energy drinks, some energy solutions. They get you going for a couple minutes, and then they just destroy your body. This gets you going. W Energy, it gets you all going, ready to go again. Multiple different flavors. Check it out, w.gg. The website is w.gg. That's the website. And when you are ordering, use the promo code InsideEdge10. InsideEdge10. You get 10% off your order. Again, for any facet, right? If you want to get the day started at work, for you got nighttime activities, or you need something before the gym, or you need something after the gym, something like that, W Energy has you covered. Again, w.gg. Use the promo code InsideEdge10, our new network sponsor here on the Inside Edge Network. All right, we're not going to play the entire clip here. Let's go to Gronk. He had this to say with Kay Adams on Up and Adams, FanDuel TV. Logan Paul, the whole story with Logan Paul talking about he could challenge an NFL player. Le'Veon Bell stepped up. And then Logan Paul got a call from someone who works in WWE saying that they can't have the fight. The fight's off. He also mentioned that Logan Paul mentioned that when he was going to challenge NFL players, he said he beat up all of Rob Gronkowski's brothers. Here's Gronk responding to that.
Yeah, well, I saw Logan just duck Le'Veon Bell. They were supposed to fight. They were supposed to put $1 million each in escrow. And Logan Paul had the WWE owner call him and say, oh, you can't do it, Logan Paul. What if you get hurt? I just feel like he backed out, and that was just his excuse. Like, he should have just came out and said, actually, I don't want to do it. But instead, he had backup, and then he puts the call online as well. Like, hey, look, I can't do it because WWE said I can't do it. Like, that's the biggest crap of all time. I mean, you don't just call people out and then it happens and then you back out. Like, that just shows that he's a flake. And on top of it, I saw that he was actually commenting as well that he could whoop my ass.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Let me tell you. Let's take a look at it first. Come on.
Go to the tape.
Tom Brady calling me a to Gronk of all people, who I beat up all of his brothers back to back to back.
Oh, is this your
literally in a boxing ring? The Gronks lined up, and I beat them up back to back to back. And guess who didn't step in there to prove himself? Mr. Gronk himself.
Gronk, what would you like to say to Logan?
Well, I didn't step in that ring that time when he fought my brothers, because I was actually in the middle of playing, in the NFL, and I didn't say I was going to do it, and or anything. Like, if I'm going to say I'm going to do it, then I'm going to do it. But if Logan Paul wants a piece of me, we're both playing in the flag football game on March 21st in LA, and I can tell you this, okay? Yeah. The last time, players talk trash to me,
I muted myself. My bad. I was all locked in. I'm ready to go. Like, let's go. Oh, this is a promotion for flag football. The hell out of here. Smart business, though. I dig it. Smart business. That's good stuff, though. That's good stuff. So are we going to have flag football, or is this game designed to line people up to fight Logan Paul one by one? Are we going to see a flag football game, or are we going to see Logan Paul fight Gronk and fight Tom Brady in the middle of the room? You know what I want? Eli, you know what I want? I want XFL style, the coin toss, the scramble for the coin toss. But instead of the scramble, they throw hands. Whoever's dropped, they don't get possession of the football. Eli, do you like that? Did I sell it to you?
I love it. I'm here with you. We're in full lockstep together, brother. I was sold on Gronk's promo too. I know we're right up against it here, so I won't take too much of your time here. But man, I was sold on it, and then yeah, flag football.
Flag football, man, unreal. You had me. You know the effed up part? It worked. I actually am going to watch the flag football game. It actually worked. Dang it, it worked. All right. Eli, we're going to pull an audible. Play Rousey 01, the shorter clip.
I think he was upset when he saw your comments yesterday on social media. You mentioned that he wasn't upset with you for taking this fight.
Oh, he knows the White House card sucks. Like, he knows that they were pushing this for over a year, and it fell extremely short of expectations. I mean, he was so upset about it. He was talking about a fight falling out the day before. You know, it's I can guarantee you he's not happy with it either. And he's the one that taught me through example to speak my mind.
So that was Ronda Rousey. Credit to Netflix for that. That was Ronda Rousey in her press conference yesterday, promoting her fight coming up in May. And yeah, the UFC is loaded with a ton of problems right now. You got Conor McGregor quote tweeting Ariel Helwani, just pretty much saying like, hey, Conor kind of benefited with timing. And it's just amazing. If I told you, and then also John Jones saying we negotiated with the UFC to work on a fight. And for Dana White to say that John Jones is done, no, I'm not done. You're not paying me. And so this is where things are getting very dangerous here, because Jake Paul, you always think back to moments that could flip the script in terms of sports leagues. This could be an opportunity where Jake Paul, if he runs a legitimate MMA promotion, could flip the script on the UFC. Because imagine, you already got Ronda. She just has to look decent. She doesn't have to look like a goat. She just has to look decent. But if you have Ronda, you're willing to pay her. Imagine... I don't even know Conor McGregor's contract status with the UFC, but what's stopping Jake Paul from throwing, and Netflix for throwing a ton of money at Conor McGregor and say, come on over, fight for us, we'll pay you, and more people will see you. Whew, I think you got something there. And then John Jones, opening negotiating. You can have Ronda Rousey, John Jones, and Conor McGregor fight all for Jake Paul in the MVP promotions. So you could have that. That's crazy. Real quick before we wrap, we did see this story with the NFL. They're thinking about a game on Thanksgiving Eve. They're going to take over the world, basically. The NBA had their highest ratings on Thanksgiving Eve, and the NFL said, not so fast, buddy. Not so fast. So keep an eye on that. It looks like that's going to happen this upcoming season. And that game could be on YouTube or a stream or another streamer. Netflix could have that game. The NFL has been known to not overstretch their product, but a Thanksgiving Eve game, 3 Thanksgiving Day games, a Black Friday game, plus you got your normal Sunday afternoon, Sunday night football, Monday night football. That's a lot of games to spread around. And I get worried. As a fantasy football player, I like Wednesdays because Wednesday's the one day we could break. I got to put a lineup together. It's crazy. All right, that's going to do it. Finally, as we wrap up the week, our workout of the week, incline bench presses. Incline, that's, everybody does the classic, shoulders out press. The incline, and the hardest thing about incline, keeping them elbows in. That's the toughest part. If you got to do less weight, use less weight. Here's the thing. There are 2 things I learned as a grown adult compared to, when we were kids. Oh, you got to use more weight And all you got to have name brand shoes. 2 things adults do not care about anymore. Wear shoes that look good but are comfortable, and you're good to go. And then with the weight room, use weights in which you're going to do the workout correctly. Bad habits, bad habits lead to bad form, and that leads to injury. You don't want that. Eli, great work. The Golden Child. Eli, real quick before we end the show, how can people find your album again?
Yeah, they can just go right to the social there at the band they call Moon. It's in my bio. It's $10. Purchase it. Just going to help me get to Texas next week. Thriller in Texas Festival and so much more. Haley, we're the movement, man. The collective, we are rocking and rolling. Inside Edge Network, we're rocking and rolling. AA, man, what a great day to be alive.
Yeah, it definitely is. Thank you again, Eli, for all your hard work. Thank you all for watching, your support, love. None of us here at the Inside Edge Network could be doing any of this without your love and support for watching all of our shows. We have like 3,000 shows on this network, and you watch all of them. And thank you for doing that. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to Pete and everybody. Pete runs all this as well. So thank you to everybody. It's 1 o'clock. It's 1:02 now. So it's time to go to bed. It's time for y'all to go to bed. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, get your W energy drink. You'll get your day going on a Thursday where it's frigid and cold. I'm sad now. Good night.